Hi aspirants, in my lecture number 12, which deals with current affairs, I will discuss the two articles which have appeared in leading daily, The Indian Express, on 14th April and 22nd April 2021 respectively, relevant from the Civil Services Mains Examination point of view. In this lecture, I will show how the articles which have appeared can be mapped to GS Mains Paper 2. These articles are sometimes value additions to what we study in GS Mains, and alternatively, verbal questions can be framed for GS Mains Paper 2. We have scanned the leading dailies and selected articles which are important from the Civil Services Mains Examinations perspective. What we present in this lecture showcases our innovative ways to extract value from newspaper reading, especially articles. In this particular lecture, first article which we would discuss is titled as Why Government's Recognition of Allied Healthcare Professionals is a Paradigm Shift. This article appeared in Indian Express on 14th April 2021. Before we discuss this article, we would take up the context on which this article is based. Recently, the National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions Bill 2020 was passed unanimously by the Parliament. The bill provides for the constitution of a National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions for regulation and maintenance of the standards of education and services, assessment of institutions, maintenance of a central register and state register of such professionals. Significance of the National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions Bill. First, it provides for regulation and maintenance of the standards related to education, services and assessment by allied and healthcare professionals. Second, it maintains a central register of allied and healthcare professionals. It recognizes over 50 professions such as optometrists, physiotherapists, etc., which had lacked a comprehensive regulatory mechanism until now. It classifies allied professionals on the basis of International System of Classification of Occupations, abbreviated as ISCO code, which provides global mobility and enables better opportunities and benefits to around 8 to 9 lakhs allied and healthcare professionals. Second, it aims to establish a central statutory body as a National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions, which is supported by 10 professional councils. Its function is to frame policies and standards, regulate professional conduct, prescribe qualifications, create and maintain a central register. Finally, it also has a provision for state councils to execute major functions through autonomous boards. Now, why this paradigm shift? First, for decades being healthy was largely understood as not being sick or getting treatment for the sick. This led to overemphasizing curative healthcare while neglecting preventive and promotional aspects of healthcare. Second, but since 2017, there has been a paradigm shift in perception, policy and programmatic intervention in healthcare delivery in India. Ayushman Bharat, with its two pillars, operationalized critical recommendations of National Health Policy 2017. Third, PMJ, Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana, protected the needy from the catastrophic expenditure. With health and wellness centers, India took the first step towards delivering comprehensive primary health care that addresses major causes of morbidity and mortality. The stress of modern lifestyle, rapid urbanization, rising chronic non-communicable diseases burden has necessitated a change in delivering healthcare. Finally, Caring for patients with mental condition and the increasing elderly population requires a trained allied health workforce. Now we will discuss some of the salient features of the bill. First, it defines an allied health professional as an associate, technician or technologist trained to support the diagnosis and treatment of any illness, disease, injury or impairment. Second, a healthcare professional includes a scientist, therapist, or any other professional who studies, advises, researches, supervises, or provides preventive, curative, rehabilitative, therapeutic, or promotional health services. Third, the bill sets up the National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Profession with major functions such as creating and maintaining an online central register of all registered professionals, providing basic standards of education and qualifications. Fourth, the Commission will constitute a professional council for every recognized category of allied and healthcare professions. Fifth, within 6 months from the passage of the bill, state governments will constitute state allied and healthcare councils that function as an implementing agency in the respective state. Seventh, no person is allowed to practice as a qualified allied and healthcare practitioner other than those enrolled in a state register or the national register. Any person who contravenes this provision will be punished with a fine of rupees 50,000. Now we come to the conclusion. Global evidence points out the vital role of allied professionals in the delivery of healthcare services. By acknowledging these professionals who are the first to recognize the problems of patients and who serve as a safety nets, the National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professions Bill 2020 has the potential to overhaul and revamp the entire allied health workforce. This bill is not only timely but critical to the changing paradigm. Now we come to a point where we have to design a question, probable question based on this particular article. The probable question is as follows. Critically evaluate National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Profession Bill 2020. I'm just repeating. Critically evaluate National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Profession Bill 2020. This will be appearing in General Studies Mains Paper 2. Now we move to the second article, which is titled as Putting Migrants First. This article appeared in the Indian Express on 22nd April 2021. Before we discuss this article, first we will outline the context. As India continues its vaccination drive, some scholars suggest vaccinating migrants needs to be prioritized. Now, what are the editorial insights concerned with this article? This concerns migrant laborers in India. They contribute significantly to India's GDP. In India, 90% of the labor force is employed in the informal sector, where 75% are migrants. They manage most of the essential services such as construction, etc. As of 2020, India has nearly 600 million internal migrants. Then what is this migrant crisis due to the COVID-led lockdown? First, before the second COVID wave, though India is gradually returning to the new normal, it cannot forget the distressing images of hungry migrant workers walking back to their respective hometowns during lockdown and shutdown of factories and workplaces. As a consequence, millions of migrant workers lost their jobs, forcing them and their family to go hungry. Many migrants were arrested for breaking the lockdown rules. Many on their way back died from dehydration and accidents. Since partition, it was the second largest population displacement in India. It displaced nearly 200 million migrants. They work in construction sites, hotels, and as rickshaw pullers, etc. Migrants, due to their informal nature, are often denied adequate healthcare, nutrition, housing, and sanitation facilities. The majority of them has no savings and resides in slums and dormitories. Then what are the government steps in this regard? First, Indian government came out with many schemes for its migrants population. It announced a rupees 1.7 lakh crore spending plan for the poor that comprises cash transfers and other food security measures. Under Manrega, the average daily wages were increased from rupees 182 to rupees 202. Nearly rupees 1,000 crores from the Prime Minister Cares Fund has been allocated for migrants' welfare. Under Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Yojana, government provided free food grains to 80 million migrant workers. Governments with SC directions provided stranded migrant workers with free food, shelter and transport. Centre issued an order instructing landlords not to demand rent during the lockdown period. Now, what are the shortfalls in government's efforts? First, the intended government efforts such as food security schemes have not reached the large chunk of migrant workers because inaccessibility of fair prices stores during the lockdown. Supreme Court also admitted that the migrants' issues had not been addressed and there had been inadequacies and certain lapses on government's part. The transportation of stranded migrants met with issues of poor conditions in buses and higher fares charged. At the same time, Supreme Court denied a plea requiring payment of the minimum wages to laborers. Now we will discuss vaccination and migrants. In India, nearly 105 million Indians have been vaccinated till now. Priorities for vaccination in India have been based on occupation, age and health conditions. At present, the focus group for vaccination was individuals over the age of 45. Being a dynamic community with no specific definitions based on any criteria, migrants have been left behind in the priority list for vaccination. Vaccinations help in reducing COVID-19 cases surge and prevent measures like lockdown. Migrants should be made into the priority list because they were most affected during the lockdown and live on meager jobs and resources in the cities. Without being vaccinated, they may leave their current jobs like last year and head towards their hometown. This results in a steep decline in development indicators such as the health and education of migrant families. Now we come to the conclusion. Without adequate support, migrants cannot able to survive this crisis. India's failure to prioritize migrants' vaccination will lead the country to a major economic crisis, accompanied with low productivity and increasing unemployment. This will result in breakdown of the critical informal services sector. It is high time for India to include migrants into the vaccination drive priority list to protect the most vulnerable and backbone of the Indian economy. The probable question based on this article will be: critically analyze the demand for prioritized vaccination of migrants. I'm repeating, critically analyze the demand for prioritized vaccination of the migrants. Before I sign off, do tune in to my next videos. Please subscribe to this particular channel in large numbers. We would appreciate if you enroll for our civil services mains examination 2021 and civil services prelim comes main examination 2022. Till then, do tune in. Thank you.